900 of these border crossers who just marched across, they were subject to what's called removal orders by U.S. authorities. So these are folks who had already had their day in court, so to speak. They were ordered out, and of those 900, only 6 were deported. That's what the Globe and Mail reports. Can you speak a little bit to those stats?
Well, we're mixing apples and oranges here, which is what's dangerous, and I think Bill Blair got himself into a lot of trouble by not really understanding what's going on. First of all, we're not really necessarily concerned at all with the number of arrivals here who have U.S. removal orders. Makes no difference. They look the same as everybody else who's coming here. So the fact that they've been ordered removed from the United States only tells us that they may have gone through the entire refugee process. But that is of no consequence to us. Whoever is coming to our border from the United States at a place other than a proper port of entry is entitled to make a refugee claim, whether they have a U.S. removal order or whether they've already made a U.S. refugee claim. And so what's striking about the comment from Bill Blair, who is supposed to be our border security minister, is the fact that he believed, even for a moment, that most of the people who've arrived are gone, which means he doesn't really understand that this process is a 2 or 3 year process now because of the backlogs that have been created by the open border. Yeah. So for him to even utter that, even momentarily, it clearly tells me that he's not familiar with what's happening once people get into Canada. He's confused one statistic that is irrelevant to what we're doing here in Canada.
Huh. Well, let me speak to that other statistic, because I take your point, and thank you for the education. What I've just learned from you is even if someone's ordered out of America, that doesn't necessarily bind Canada's decision. But let me, if I understand you correctly, Giddy, but let me refer to another stat in the Globe. And again, I'm relying on them because Sure. That was the subject of the quarrel in Parliament there. I'm just going to quote a little bit from the Globe. And Giddy, first of all, you tell me if the Globe is accurate. And then second, I'd like your thoughts on this. The Globe says, the overall number of asylum seekers who have been deported or removed from Canada also remains low. Since early 2017, that's really when the flood started. More than 34,000 asylum seekers have crossed into Canada through unofficial points. To date, only 398, or about 1%, have been removed. So that's not subject to U.S. deportation orders, removal orders. That's just everyone. 34,000 in, and only 398 booted out. Is that accurate?
That's 100% accurate. In terms of anecdotally, what I can tell you, that should be about right. And the minister should have known that. He should have known that it's a minuscule percentage that have actually been removed. Now, what actually happens in Canada is when they come from the States and they arrive in Canada, they get a Canadian removal order, okay? We're not talking about the U.S. anymore, we're talking about a Canadian removal order. That removal order really doesn't help us very much because the person has a refugee claim. So that removal order cannot be executed until the refugee claim is finished. But we know now that that's going to take 2 or 3 years. So the minister really should have known that in the last year or two, we've allowed in 35,000 people who are sitting around, and virtually no one's had a hearing yet. So it's impossible for them to have been removed at the numbers that he thought we were removing them. So the 300 number sounds right to me, for sure.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, the Ezra Levant Show, weekdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Every day I do a monologue, interview a guest, and read my fan mail and my hate mail. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.